the parts kit. Of course, gaskets. Has the rear seal, actually, because it's, I did tell them it was Studebaker. They did send, I believe, the right seal and the right bushing, and so the other ones would be Ford seal and Ford bushing. Good U.S. made SKF bearings, locking rings. I'm not going to take all this apart, but small parts kit with the C-clips and the rollers and everything like that. More small stuff, the seals for the shafts, and in the manila envelope are the synchronizer dogs and springs. And I went ahead and ordered a new counter shaft because I really don't expect that one to be good. So we got everything we need there, and let's see, who did that come from? That came from the Gearbox Transmissions in Port Orange, Florida. So I'll let you know how this kit does. It's a pretty reasonable price, and it seems to have good parts. So we'll report back on that. All right, let's go over the part situation. We're getting ready to reassemble this transmission. I know this looks like a big mess, but this is all the parts for the transmission cleaned and inspected. The bulk of the parts will be reused. Cover, shift linkage there. Of course, these rollers won't be reused. They'll be replaced with new. Input shaft. The blocking rings will all be replaced. First, third, fourth synchro was good. It'll be reused. The first, second synchro, there was a lot of problems shifting into second. So, and that turned out to be the synchro teeth on the second speed gear and the synchro teeth on the synchronizer sleeve were pretty worn. So we're replacing those. Here's the main cluster. So all the parts, as I say, cleaned up and ready to reassemble, except for I haven't cleaned up the main shaft yet, so I need to clean it up and do a little polishing with some crocus cloth on where the rollers run. Let's go over here and we'll go through. The other problem on this transmission was that it was really noisy in reverse, and so looking at this, this reverse gear, reverse idler has really been chewed up, and so I went ahead and I got a new one of those from the Gearbox, which is where I've gotten the bulk of my parts for this rebuild. So it comes with the bushings already in it. So there's that. And here's the reverse slider that came out of the transmission. And you can see it's not too bad, but I'm going to go ahead and replace it. I had a couple of new old stock ones, and you can see that's still got the Cosmoline on it. So so let's zoom in on that. Part number 1553080. So I got that at York quite a long time ago. Bought 2 of them. Second speed gear, I had a couple new old replacement stock second speed gears, so I'm going to replace that. And the wear area on those were these synchronizer teeth, or dog teeth, whatever you want to call them. What happens is the face, the angle gets worn, angle gets real, angles back as they wear, and that's where the synchronizer slider engages into the second speed gear. So I had 2 of those, new old replacement stock, and so I'm replacing that, and that's a New Era NU 10H-31, and you see that's also used in Chevrolet and Ford 4-speed. Just got to make sure the gear count's correct. Oh, and I forgot the other part on the rear, reverse gear. I'm going to replace the shaft that this idler runs in. There was some wear on that, and I had a new old stock Studebaker one, still covered in cosmoline, and that's 1553085. Let's see, what else? Oh, here's one of the synchronizer hubs. Now this is what is called a torque lock, and that's a later style for the T-10. It's I think it was used in all the Super T-10s, and it's hard to see. Alright, come on, focus. Well, it's not going to focus. It's supposed to keep it from slipping out of gear if you're under acceleration and let off. And most of the folks who rebuild T-10s use these on any T-10 rebuild. Maybe we can get a better. There's the difference, as you can see near the top of the picture, the how those teeth are made. They've got little areas, it looks like they're shaved off. That's not on the original sliders. So I got 2 of those and replaced both of those, first, second synchro, and third, fourth. Alright, I forgot two important parts. Since I changed the rear end in this car, I went to a Model 44, and I went from the 307 rear axle to a 331. Not much change, but this Model 44 was a twin traction, and I wanted the larger rear axle. So I had to change both the speedometer gear and the pinion, so the speedometer will be accurate. So based on the 331 gear, and based on being a 1964 transmission, I needed speedometer gear 1557264, which I got from Studebaker International. No one else had them. Thank goodness Studebaker International had them. And then the pinion was 1556036. Several people had those, but I got that from Studebaker International also when I ordered this. So I felt good. I was a little concerned about that. I was afraid I was going to have to use the earlier 61, 62 setup and the different speedometer cable if I couldn't find these, but I did find these, so I'm good to go. But thanks to Studebaker International for having those.